Hello and welcome to the next episode of the series, which is Lego Room and of course my life. Now it's been a minute since we got round to the Star Wars section of our theme park and it is looking a little bit sorry for itself, but if you have been watching the last few uploads, we have been doing lots of different bits and pieces underneath this part of the table. So what we've started on was all of the Lord of the Rings stuff, and then we moved on with all the base plates and we added in some of the Disney bits and pieces. Then as we wrapped it round, we tried to make space for a medieval display, and I said if I think that was going to work, well, I would order some medieval bits and pieces. Now if you look over my shoulder, the first piece is already here, so I cannot wait to get that box open and start to attack a brand new section of our theme park. But today it is all about Star Wars and getting Tatooine on the shelf. So the plan of attack for today's upload is to sort out all of this and see if we can make any of it work. So, with that being said, let's get to it. So this is the first part of the delivery. Yes, I have ordered another excavator digger because I think this is such a good looking set. I want to try and create a fleet of these, and we have got the medieval town square. Now, just a quick recap of where we got to in the last few uploads for being underneath here. You can see that all the base plates are down up to a certain point, and then we ran out. So we do need to add in some green, and of course, these two grey ones here will be green, and then I've got to think of what I'm going to do with the medieval section. So it'll be interesting if we just carry on with the green, because, well, this bit in the middle, that's going to be all Bricklink related. Now, we do have some options for the Star Wars display. We can carry on going across the floor, or we can actually carry on going across the top of the shelf. Now, with regards to the sail barge fitting in there absolutely perfectly, I'm going to try and see if I can just get Tatooine up on the shelf, because if I can get Tatooine up on the shelf, it frees up a lot more space, because I was just going to take that shelf off, and if I obviously take the shelf off and the Tatooine goes down, we're then going to have to carry on wrapping around the display around the corner. So the plan for this one is figure out where I can actually put you, so you guys and girls can see what is going on. And you look, as always, every time I start a new video, filthy, there we go. So I have got the tan base plates at last that is needed for this, because we did space this out ages ago on white and we did just have it on the ground. Now what I am using is the dividers from some of the Calyx bits and pieces, and I learned very, very quickly that they're not actually square. So if you have them that way, they are one length, and if you spin them around the other way, well, they're completely different. And that did actually throw me in one of the other uploads. So if you are wondering why sometimes I am struggling with this, it's because, well, I'm a moron. So what I want to do is get some more of these down so they're ready for the base plates. And I want to see if they will fit in front of that table. If I can get to there, absolutely perfect. If not, it will just be done in a separate upload when we're tidying up some bits and pieces. Priority at the moment is to see if we can make Tatooine work. Now, my only concern is the base plate's not going to sit very well on the shelf, because the shelf isn't the widest. I haven't got any material to make it any wider. So things like the cantina would fit shut, but I don't know if we can actually take it. So there might be some tiers in this one. So we will just basically play by ear and see. Now I've got the table set up behind me to move the pieces on, so that's fine. And then, well, we'll just see how we get on. But we need to move. That's a good start. A lot of the stuff that is kind of just being dumped on this shelf. It's kind of been one of those where it's been out of mind, out of sight, and now, well, that is now no longer happening with the bits and pieces. How are we doing for time? We are getting there. It's right. Okay. So that is the sail barge. I think I need to add that to the marble display just to actually get some use out of it. It's the most overpriced set ever with regards to what that was, and it's just silly. Right, so does the base plate fit? That is the question, because if it does, I'm intrigued. Because in the last upload, we were saying about the Stranger Things potentially going in this corner first. So really, I want to work from right to left, but how everything's set up on the floor and where all the sets are, if I get them left to right, so I can actually get some space, so I don't have to double or triple shift anything. And then with these bits and pieces, they'll either go into the Marvel section, the figures and the Indiana Jones will just go basically on the sale pile, and then yeah, we'll be good. Now, baseplate wise, we have got 12 cans. So we'll start off with these 3, and we'll go from there. I don't know if it's deceiving. Oh, it is deceiving. That's good. But I thought it was very, very shallow. But we are off by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 studs, which is a bit of an overhang. So I've got to be careful. But we might be able to do it. Might is the key. The key word. And if I put these down, I won't have to, don't think I'm going to have to paint the shelf. So what I'm going to do is, if Tatooine will fit on this shelf closed, which, let's be honest, is a huge ask, we should be all right. If it doesn't, and we've got to have it fully open, obviously for it not falling off, I don't know if we're going to have enough space. Now, I need this light for you to see, but it's also right in my way. So we'll just have to sort of put up with it, and you have to stay up there for now because you're not going to be able to see anything. So I'm currently grabbing the cantina, and we're going to just figure out what will work with what. So I wanted the cantina open because it was going to be our bar. But we might have to have it closed, which is fine. Now I've got minifigures trapped, as you normally do, in the bit where it's supposed to close. We've got Dark Troopers and all sorts in there. There's the pin. Just want this to shut, please. There we go. We're good. It does need a good clean. Oh, it goes in the back corner. I wonder. I'm worried. Not so much worrying, but I'm just concerned with regards to if it'll fit or not. Oh, let's just try it. Let's just try it and see. And I'm also looking at the sail barge going. I think that sail barge is going to be in the way. So you're going to sort of sit there, get some sort of view, and just, I'm going to hope for the best, because I'm now going to try and push that back, which is really grippy on the wood. So that's not wanting to move. All right, we might be okay. Right, we're on. It is just a stud. Also, where are you down there? Stud are so bigger. But having it that way, you can see the door. If you really want to, you can then see the top on the inside. It's not really what I wanted. But if I have it open, I think it's going to be a bit awkward. We will end up trying it both ways. Where can I put you? We will end up trying it. No, we can't put you there, but you're going to see the wood. This is actually more difficult, placing you. Where's my spare piece? Where's that gone? There. get you settled for a change, shall we? If I tuck you in the inside of that leg and place you there, you can start to see what is going on. Now I want the sail barge, I want that in the middle, obviously. Straight away I'm looking at that going, the rest of the stuff isn't going to fit on the shelf. But if I can make it fit, a bit like what we've done with Hoth, it frees up a lot of space underneath, which would be fantastic. So, what do I do with the cantina first? I see what it looks like open. I do that. Do we shut this? Move this out of the back. So grippy on the wood. The problem is that you've got with the cantina, obviously, because it's an L shape. It's absolutely enormous when it's open. I mean, enormous. And I don't think the back of the cantina will sit right against the wall, because it's that long. But then obviously I can't obviously clearly not have it as an L, but I don't know if I can have it flush against the wall. I don't think I can. If I had it flush against the wall, it's going to take up a lot of space. I don't know if that would be better. Because what have we got to add in? We've got I don't know, I'm confused. I don't know if it would look better open or closed. Right, sail barge needs to move. Everything's in the way, and if you haven't noticed, I've said this in the last couple of uploads, it's very hot in here. Very, very hot indeed. Right, so that and that closed. What if that went there, and it was off centre, and the cantina went in the middle, because that's more inviting over that bit, and I think you might be able to see everything a little bit better, and you've got all the minifigures and stuff in there. So maybe that's how that should go. And then the next bit is the cantina, but as I'm trying to make, I can't raise this up, so we've just got the roof of the sail barge for an eatery of things. And what we got here, we've got different roller coaster pieces. That's the Ahsoka T6. That's something else I've got to now consider, because what am I going to do with some of these ships? Because it was going to be a 6 or a 9 base plate display, and this is obviously changing things ever so slightly, but I like the sail barge up there, so we will see. Now we've got the Emperor's throne room. Alright, that's where the last of the brick dust went. Brilliant. Alright, okay. This will be the final time I talk about brick dust, because everything's been painted, and obviously it's all fallen down onto the shelf when I did it, and I've not revisited this shelf since. So all of the other little bits and pieces that are underneath here are different sets. Now we've got the Boba Fett throne. I can't believe I'm trying to squeeze in between a light and whatever else. And I'm just going to think. Right, let's just put these up on the shelf and see what we've got to play with. Now that is dangerous, that's not going to stay. We've got that. we've got that. Now you can see, I would imagine straight away, if we want the cantina open, things are going to have to be in front of it. Because it is very, very long. Now, I've had this open before as an L, and I've raised that up on the wood, and we've got it behind. This is always the Achilles heel, this set, but they scale quite well with each other. So, do I get this on, because I can actually drill into this wall, and then put some tiny shelves up for the other sets. So it's done. Now I could, I don't really want to, I could make the shelf a little bit deeper, but I really can't be bothered to do that. So let's see what we can do with this. So you're there, you're in prime time viewing now. This light is causing me a lot of grief, but I'm doing this just for you. Right, let's get that down. Let's get it all down. The things we do, eh? The things we do. They're all surprisingly very, very long. Said no one ever. Right. Oh, we know that the middle is going to, oh, don't you dare do that. The middle is going to overhang when I open this bit around. So we've got an overhang of that. Now, options we've got. I could do what I've done on the sail barge with what I've done with the Rivendell, and it could literally end the land. Now if it was to do that, it would go, oh, maybe I should do it with the cantina. Maybe the ship should stay up on the shelf and it's in that corner. The cantina goes down and it goes across in a straight line. There's a complete block off divide. The other display for Star Wars is in the middle, and in front of the sail barge we add in the little ship, and in front of the cantina we add in the throne room, because if we have, I think it's 3 base plates in length, so if we had 3 base plates coming across, and it'd be 3 base plates out, I think, and we basically create a big L of a Tatooine, and then that should leave quite a lot of base plates in the middle for the little bits and bobs, which means the sail barge stays up tall, and it gives me a lot of sort of freedom to do bits and pieces at a later date. But to do that, I've got to move all the pieces that I wasn't really expecting to move today. So I think what I'm going to have to do, you're so close, you're burning hot as well, is I'm going to clear that space up. So like I said, this was just a trial, but I think I'm going to commit. I think that would work. I think the Tatooine as the cut off, so it can't go any further. So it's either just as an L shape, depending on how much it sticks out, or it's a straight line with the ship above. And then when it comes to doing something underneath a loop coaster, we might be able to get away with it. So we've got enough of these whites, so we can put all the whites down, go all the way across, then work backwards in It's only because I want, as and when and if a Death Star's coming, that's going smack in the middle. So we've got AT-AT, UCS, cheese, and Death Star. But yeah, that on the shelf, that over there. It can just stay on the shelf rather than high up on the wood. So that's the other option. It could just go in the wood and I could just free up the shelf completely, and the shelf could then just be used for something else. I will have a think, and then we'll actually get something done. So it actually looks a lot worse than what it is. It took about 10 minutes, which isn't too bad. Now, half of this is actually Star Wars stuff anyway, which will be coming back in. And then there's 1 or 2 Marvel sets that will just get relocated and go away. The space stuff, now if you remember me saying a long time ago that it might be quite nice to have like a space world or a sci-fi thing, we keep batting around about the ideas. Well, some of those ships that are up here can be used for that, the non-Star Wars related ones. This being one of them, because this is obviously Benny's original spaceship from the Lego movie. Now, annoyingly, as everything else, this was fully complete when it was underneath there, but we've had bits and pieces sort of ping off the side and bits off the back and whatever else. So they will be in one of the boxes underneath. Now, I vacuumed underneath here. I vacuumed across the top and I've relocated the light. Like I said, it didn't take very long. It just is one of those where sometimes it looks a lot worse than what it is. I was thinking, oh, this is going to take forever. So the sets that are to be built with regards to that are non Star Wars related will get put in that Kallax ready to basically as like a building pile for now, because that's what that Kallax is kind of going to turn into to start with. And then when I get through that, it will become a really nice display. Now, we did the same thing with the Lord of the Rings. If, as and when it needs to expand, we can go underneath here. Now, we can go deep. We can go 2 tables back, but that will be it, because then the next one is basically a crawl space for me to get under to get the stuff out the back. So we can go 1 meter wide, near enough, all the way back. So we've basically got 1 meter by 1.2 if we want to expand that way for whatever reason. So that is just to bear in mind. And then we can go that way underneath the tables as well. So yes, it's just one of those that this was and always has supposed to be a Star Wars thing, because I've shown these off a couple of times now. We've got all the different battle packs and all the little bits and pieces. And then when the war went wrong and everything else went wrong, well, it kind of got left, and then one piece kind of kicked it all back off again. So I have to think of, do we have all the Tatooine on ground level and we save the shelf for something else that's probably screaming at me in the face, like an Ahsoka TV show or something else? I will have to kind of figure this out with the base plates as we go, because I've got to designate enough base plates per section, because this Clone Wars display is obviously massive and there's loads and loads of bits and pieces to go in there, and we have got a lot of base plates for Hoth as well, and the Hoth is only 1 base plate deep, whereas underneath here it's going to be 3. So because you're filthy again, because I've relocated the light, all around a little bit better. There we go. So I can, you know what, I'm going to use the paint. The top up, the touch up paint, you can be used just there. So that's the level that you're going to be at. So the first thing we're going to do is put these white things down. I need to get, there's no point in me quadruple shifting that. So my worry, and we do like a worry, and I said this in one of the other uploads, it's this leg, because we're here. It's going to be tight, very tight. Now when we get to that timbered leg, there's not really too much we can do about that, so we're just going to have to basically figure it out from there. And then the bits and pieces that are behind it is just going to be dumped for storage, so I'll end up blocking that bit off. But if we can get to where the white wall is, that would be great. And then, like I said, underneath here, to be honest, it's just not much. It's just stuff that's been thrown underneath there. Suitcases, big teddy bear, random Lego stuff that I brought up and just never been able to take back down again, and yada 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 yada. Have found some really cool space stuff, and I have got some old space things which might be coming out later in the year, so at least I'm aware of where they are. So yes, I've moved you onto here, so my brand new display, which is not very old at all, has already been wrecked. Now, do I save the floor space or not? That is going to be the question, because I don't know if I could just have the sail barge, because we're now doing it this way. I don't know if we can go back to an original old school idea of having the sail barge behind, because potentially, I know the white things aren't down yet, that would sit in that corner, and then, he says, and then obviously it would just open like that, and would bring that sort of bit around and whatever else, just to make it a little bit more square. Now if it went there, you can just see how big that bit is. When you see it on the base plates, this thing is enormous. So I think really it does need to go full length across the back, because I don't want it to eat in this way too much. So that either goes behind it or above it, because I'm going to need to have ideally 6 base plates, in the middle 3, I think. So we'll see. So these are going to go down. I've just got to remember to put them down the right way, because I'm going to have dowels facing forward is how we're going to do it. And then I might have to chop and change how it's done, because it's not as deep that way, and I'm worrying about this table. So we go, it works well for base plates, because I think it just happens to be that 2 of these touching tips with the overhang for this, now there doesn't actually have to be that sort of overhang, I just need to pull this back out, is the same as this. It's literally in line. It just, because obviously it's 3 base plates, so I'm not going to kick that. I can just pull this back out, but obviously I can't do it over there. That's why that's pinned all the way in. So that is one of those. Another one of those. You're now on here. It transforms it the second these start to go down with the base plates. It makes such a difference. Oh, I'm looking at that going, we're actually kinking away from that, because the wall at the back isn't straight. So if you notice, we're off on that corner, and we're actually tight up against there, because this skirting board, oh, we might miss it, because it looks to me, I'm eyeballing that and we're missing it, but from here I thought we were going to hit it. So can we just get the next 2 down, and we'll see what is what. Now the nice thing is that these, oh no, I spoke too early. Okay, no, it might be alright. It feels like it's kicking back in. Not gonna lie, that nearly dropped on my face. Right, we're in. No drama. Miles away. Absolutely. Oh, there is a problem. Base plate's a problem. Oh dear. Oh dear. That's the thing I didn't think of. Right, let's test it. 1, oh, from the cable. 2, not looking good. Not looking good. Bugger. Oh, that is tight. Oh, I know it's not the right colour, but I've used the colour that you can't actually see. I've got to do this all over again. But will that go? Will that go? Oh, we're a stud. I think it will. I think we can make that work. If I can get that cable up. Honestly, this is why it's called a disaster series. Even though it's now been changed to a Lego theme park. Everything I touch. Me and Jay's Toy Collection UK are basically glass. Everything he does, to the stud. everything I do, hence the name of the channel, is off by a stud or two, and it is a right royal pain in the backside. Now, once this is all done and down, I will go around with a smaller paintbrush and tidy this up because it needs a good clean and everything else. So this isn't going to get tiled for a while. This is going to be like a nice little project. So the whites can go. Figure out what we can do with the whites now. The little handheld vacuum. I would like one more in. Alrighty there, I would like one more because I think it should fit. We can get one more in there, and then I've got to figure out, I might have to cut one. But we will see. Because I think that medieval display that I got very excited about is going to look fantastic on those. And then we've got the Tatooine over here, and the Death Star is basically going to be the end of the museum, because the museum's going to zigzag now all the way down. Yeah, I can kind of see the visions at last coming together. Now, will this fit that way or not? Look at it. You couldn't be any closer if you wanted to. You are literally making this up. Now, I think if I was to spin it around the other way, it would go, which is fine. But then if I did that, you can see that we're off. But will the other one, oh, I don't know, will the other one go in the opposite way? No, because we are off by a smidge. So can it go in that way? Yes. So there you go. If you didn't realise that these things, you've literally got to make a puzzle, that's how it's going to work. And now I can't fit, well, you can see where all the legs are. So the next land would start the other side of the legs, and I'll just have to figure out what I'm going to do underneath the tables, because I'm not going to stand the tables on this because I lose the ceiling height. So I'd basically start on the inside and just figure out if I was going to do it with a board or something like that. So it's definitely going to be a bit of an overhang, because I don't think, if I was desperate, that would go in, so I could push that other bit back. But I'm kind of looking at it going, what am I going to use it for? So for now, I don't think we need to. Because I can't figure out what that is going to be used for. So I need to start grabbing these. Now what actually I am going to do, because it will help me with spacing, is I know that the spacing is going to be off. So I need to just use some white ones just to help with the scenario. Yeah, because we're off by quite a bit. It's probably half a base plate, isn't it? I seem to like the half base plate, so 16 by 16. Yep, that's what we're off by basically on everything. So a 16 by 16 would tuck in the corner. So if I then put those two there, a 16 by 16 would go in the middle. Right, there we go. So that's our divide. Now I've got to work out how much space I want to give to the Tatooine. And if I want to use the shelf or not, basically. And I don't know, because it's not going to fit between that bit of wood and the wall. So obviously over there and over there, that's not going to work. So I think it might be the safer option to have up top, and then we can have all the diorama bits behind it, and it's just the cantina above. Now I need to grab the other base plates, so there'll be a crawl happening underneath this table. Now I know I'm going to have to order more tan base plates for another display, but what I can do is I can carry on with the grey base plates as well, because the grey are either going to stay grey for the Death Star, if as and when, or we'll go black. Now, what's the next 3? So we're going to go there, and we know that we're not going to get that in, because that is in the way. Oh, we are. It's a stud. Look, I can't make it up. It's one stud for the back for that table leg. And it's that cable at the back is what's doing it. That cable wasn't there. I think potentially it would go. No, it won't go. So I did that. I need a little bit of figuring out this, because I might have to do something a little bit weird and wonderful. Yeah, it is. It's one stud. That's all it's off by. If that wasn't pinned to the floor, I think I might be able to lift that cable up, but I can't. So the next one will go in, because we'll have room for that. But do I need Tatooine for 6? I think I might have to, because I think this is going to take up quite a bit of space going lengthways. And we're going to have all the minifigures in front of it, so I think I might be quite surprised actually how much this takes up. Oh. Is this even going to fit? Yes. That was a heart in mouth moment for a second then. It does. Right. Yeah, a little bit of tweaking and sorting out. But if that goes there, like so, it gives us that to play with for Tatooine. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 for another display. Because I think if we had this actually behind the Tatooine, it would bring it forward, and I don't then think we'd have enough space. So we would have to have a bit of a zigzag around. Now I'm not going to put the sail barge on the base plates for now, just because I know that it doesn't. To be fair, I don't really think it needs to be on it. To be honest, I'll probably end up doing it, but I don't know. Use 3 base plates now. Like I think I can get more use out of them in a separate display. So I've got 6 base plates, so that will get me going on our deserted section, which is great, and then see how many short I am on that, and I might just have to order 2 more packs, and then we might be good. So what does this, I think this is such a nice set. Oh man, stuck. Oh. Right. So this is very, very safe on this shelf because, well, as you can see, we know it is. If I tuck that underneath, yeah. That wing's now in and on properly. That's as far back on the shelf as it will go. I think there'll be something that we can do between the two. That, as we eagle-eyed viewers would have spotted, I think it goes on the inside. I think that goes on the inside and that goes like that. Yes, it does. It goes like that. There you go. I did a thing. So that's now repaired. All the minifigures are there. That's fully complete. That is fantastic. Because all of those will stand up on there, and they've been stood there since I've actually had it. And that could just be a little bit of theming over Tatooine or whatever we want it to be. R2-D2 spilt his drink. We've got C-3PO in Leia with Jabba just poking his head out, so I can see all of those. And I could bring the figures lower down, no, stay still, if needs be. And then we've got all sorts of minifigures in here. We've got the original Luke from the 90s, and then we've got all of the other bits and pieces going on in there. So that will work. I think, we've got a little bit of wiggle room that I can push these back. So if they get squished, because I know this one looks like it's spot on, but the next one is actually back by 2. It's because all of these are pushed. So until they're in correctly, but it does look like the back's pinned and the back's pinned. So hopefully I think I can get this lined up with that, because it's the same. It's half one and half, and there's 2. So yeah, it'll be the same amount of studdage, so it'll be good. And then this middle bit is where I am thinking of putting in all of the other cranes, diggers, and all of that kind of thing. Or they're going to go somewhere else. And I am quite excited about that. Right, so this doodah, that can go there. Now, for the first ever time, may I add, since I've had this years, I can actually do something with it. You're in the wrong place. Now I think this, to the throne room, I am hoping, oh, it might. No, we're off. Of course we are. Oh no, hang on, it folds in, doesn't it? Folding? Well, that bit folded in. Yes, it does. So that bit folds in. I think the other bit folds in. Is that fixed? It's been a minute. Is it fixed? I'm about to snap it if it is. No. Right, so we are still on the sand, which is great. So I can deal with that. So you've got a little photo opportunity, which I can put some different tiles and stuff on. And then I guess, because it's a theme park, for another photo shoot, we need to get a little bit creative. So why don't we have somebody getting swallowed in the pit of doom. Yes, that can work. Where is the... Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, behind the camera, not on the table. Hiding from me. So we can have a photo opportunity of people coming up for this and doing whatever it is that they need to do. Like that. Maybe like that. And the pit was one of the first things you came in and entered from. And when I start to tile it, I can then make some little dioramas up in there as well and get all the minifigures out, but kind of get the idea of what I'm trying to do. We have got some outbuildings as well, because it will soon get full. There's me going, I don't think we're going to need six, and we clearly are. It's huge. Because all the roofs match, it does look like it's its own land. So yes, this is, for space constraints, this is the better way of doing it, I think. That's the back of that, isn't it? Yep. Yes. And you are... No, come on. Oh, I need two hands. Now, you know what? You can just stay there for now. That's the knocker for this. Right, we've got one more outbuilding. I'm just slotting the roof on with. I think is that way. That outbuilding can go. Wow, I didn't create 6 studs. Why don't we just do that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 6. So that'll come to the end of that base plate. That's our walkway in and out the land. Photo opportunity. That fits on there nicely. That does fit on there nicely. So we've got a little space there. That's all the outbuildings wrapped around, which is fantastic. And don't forget, we've got space in that far corner, so I can raise up this weird and wonderful thing that's seen for about 2 seconds, and this that's seen for, I don't think it's seen for that long. But yeah, with the 6 studs in, that kind of, nah. So this is what I'm going to have fun with, because we might be able to have 2 ways in, 2 ways out. Because if I go 6 studs around this bit in the middle, we'll then be able to hold it. Now, this would be nice higher. I think if it was up there, I think that would work better. So we just extended that by quite a few cylinder tubes. That's what I'm going to go for. So that's where our height would be in the display. So for now, it can just be parked there. And then what it will allow me to do is tile almost to the outer edge of the bar, which has been the plan since I got this, and have it as a cantina bar. And then we've got the open top sail barge as the bits, the Lucas Lounge of our Star Wars area. that's basically it. There might be one or two little pieces that I could add in and do different bits and pieces with if, you know, if need be, but I don't think I really need any more tattooing type stuff, to be fair. I think that's more than enough in that land. Right, base plate wise, that's going to be a bit weird, but because the whites aren't doing anything, I'm going to put the white back down just so I don't use the greys up, and then I need to suddenly use the greys up top, because I know that's what's going to happen. There's no point doing that. That one is filthy. So that's the 6. And then we have a very similar strip. So we'll have 16 by 32 there, and 16 by 16, 16 by 32 in the middle. So yeah, 6, 7.5. That looks tidy enough. That's the first time I think it's ever been on its correct bit. I'm amazed actually, just the cantina open with 2 other sets, and it takes up 6 base plates, because obviously with all the space that we're going to do round by the front of the bar. But it's in, and because I got these a long, horrendously long time ago, I have got 2 colours of tan to go down as a checker to go all the way in front of that cantina. But obviously I'm going to start that end and work my way over when the base plates and stuff are in, which is great. So all I've got to do is put those Star Wars boxes at the back of the wall on the white, because that is our unknown section. So that's 7 base plates of extra whatever it is that we want to do. 2 sets on the table will go on the back, they'll both go on the back. Hopefully that'll fit underneath the shelf, I think it will. And that's in our medieval section, which is great. And then it just leaves Ant-Man to go in Marvel, 2 ships and 2 sets to go away. That's it. So it looks a lot worse than what it is. And then the M1 will go back up. That was up against the wall, so that'll go back up. That is that, yeah. So again, I think the M1 will go up across the back underneath that, because that'll be our little Mando reference. Because we had this little screw and right in that middle hole and whacked it on. I couldn't get it back off again. Hardly entertaining. But if I can get another screw in the wall, I think that would fit nicely. Oh, look at that. Just there. It's exactly where it's going to go. You got my arm, haven't you? So, I'm carried away. Just there, like that. I think that'll work nice. So that'll go there. We'll get that in, and we can put that up when we add in all the tiles. And I will tile the base plates together so they don't move, but I just have to make sure that we're sound where the light is, so I can do all that and sort of fiddle about and do all that kind of thing off camera. Sail barge works, I think, over underneath that. Now the question is, what do I carry on with that shelf? Because do we have whatever's here up on that shelf, and then do we have whatever's here linked with that? So we've got like a 3-tier, 3 separate displays with 3 separate things on the shelf. That is a possibility. But guys, that is it, and I am done. I don't think there's anything else that I just need to throw in there. There's, like I said, there's 2 ships that we can raise up. No, oh, do back. Another photo opportunity. So it can just chill out just like that. And I can just sort out all of the minifigures. But now we are done. I think that is it. That is all the bits and pieces that we need. So lots of minifigures to add. You can see there's tons and tons of them on there. I'm very much looking forward to actually getting the front of that tiled, because I've been wanting to do that for a very, very long time. So keep your eyes balls peeled for future uploads, because we're going to be tight. Right, so without warning, the camera has just overheated and it's now cooled down. So that actually allowed me to move and create some space and tidy everything back up again, and this is what we're left with. So the boxes have gone underneath there, so that's where they're living. Star Wars with the Star Wars. I'm going to put some of the ships on the white and figure out what I'm going to do with this sci-fi thing moving forward. And then, like I said, when I start to figure out what's going to go on with this, hopefully it'll be a better understanding of what's going on at the front. But we know that we can get a 16 by 32 in there, so as I start to come across them, because there was one, there's some there, that's the one that was over there, this is a bit of a wonker, we can have that in there so we can just see with regards to spacing, and we just need the same on the other side. So the only problem we're going to have is this bit just here, but I think, to be honest, it should be okay, because we have got the base plate's just in the wrong colour, which isn't exactly ideal, but I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do with that colour in the middle. So we are going to go, to be honest, I think what we're going to have to do is, for the medieval, we're going to go green, so it's all on grass, and then it'd be a clear divide into the Star Wars for it being black. Whereas I think if you had grey next to black, it wouldn't be as prominent. So like here, you've got a clear divide with the colour of the base plates, and same thing, you've got green, grey. Whereas if you had grey, black, you can see that we've got it up there on a smaller scale, but it kind of flows from one to another, because that's kind of the same section. It's going into the haunted stuff from the Marvel-y DC stuff. And yes, I have just placed all the DC, the Marvel stuff that needs to be sorted out in here, because this is the land of all of this stuff, and then this is basically the last opportunity. If there's bits and pieces that don't work in here, onto the scrap heap, they'll get stripped apart and they'll get used for parts, and then obviously the minifigures will get used. We know what's going on with the Super Mario. If you don't, well, there's quite a lot going on with that, so that should be good fun. And like I said, I have got a tub of these. I have got a lot of the tan, I think it's them at the back. I've got a lot of two-tone tan, dark and light. There's a lot of, there they are. Up there, full tub of them, just look. So that's going to be perfect. So I've got 1x2s, 2x2s in there. That's what's going to happen all in front of the cantina. And the other tub, which is there, is going to be in the mythical section. And because, yeah, this is going to go green as the forest, so it will actually all flow. It will all flow. Might change my mind on the colour of the base plates. At the moment, we'll just obviously keep it as the two-tone, so you can actually see the difference between the two. But I am going to have to order quite a few more green anyway. So the fact that these two, where these have been worked on, will be green, because it's going to be the walkthrough. And the medieval, I've got a funny feeling the medieval base is on green anyway, so might as well keep it on green. And I think, because I'm going to have the castle open, I think it's blue on one side and green on the other. Yeah, spoiler, yeah, the castle got ordered in double point as well. So there's a lot. Oh, there's a lot of different bits and pieces coming with regards to different bits and bobs through the other sections of the theme park. So we've got lots and lots of stuff to get on with. Now the ghost is the one thing that does need a home. So the Ahsoka bits and pieces, I don't know if I could just put the ghost up on the wall at the back, because I think it would fit. And if I can get it up on a stand on the back, then do I just get a small Falcon beside it, and then that's the two of those done, because a Falcon is going to be needed. And then I just forget about the UCS Falcon, and then just focus on the one big thing, because the Falcon that I'd want is the black one. I want it from, so I just want something different. I think, again, black and white, I think both of those two would look great, and coming off a nice bright coloured wall, it's definitely something to think of. But I need to keep my eye on that one, because out of everything, that will be retiring, which is the only non-UCS set I think that I need. That will be retiring. Tatooine wise, I think I'm done. Clone Wars is a couple of little ships, minifigures that I could pick up. I might just end up getting the minifigures rather than the actual sets. So there's bits and pieces that we can do with that. Hoth, we know that there is supposed to be a UCS version of that. So the UCS version of that is going in that big gap just there. Space has already been made for it. So yeah, lots and lots of different bits and pieces happening. We've got a nice little area on, well, I say nice little area, it's 4 huge zones for Star Wars. Got a big plan for this, so keep your eyes peeled for this. It's going to be changed for the better, and it's all thanks to what we've done basically with this. So it's all getting there. So the only thing that's really messy now was the one thing that was tidy, which was the Marvel stuff. We know about the Stranger Things, that will have to be figured out. If not, that'll just get put back in its hidey hole. And then this is just a normal big open space. So it's only these 2 sets that are in the Jurassic Park bit that just need to be taken out. Whereas everything else, it's starting to get there. And then we've got a very exciting project that we're going to be doing up at the top. So I wanted to start putting those base plates down across the top, because it's just annoying me that I've only got the 1. So if the fact that I can put 6 down is great, because it now means finally the Statue of Liberty will be down. All of that can be tidied across the top. So that will be good. And then, yeah, we can figure out what is what with that. So I think that's it and we're done. I think we're done. I think that is everything. I moved, as you do, moved bits and pieces over there so they didn't get damaged, and I've got to bring them back over. Of course, it's the Dungeons and Dragons stuff, isn't it? So they are determined not to stay with the castle. It's always going to be one of those things. But I think, minus the very, very cold drink I've just got out of the fridge and the microphone that I'm about to do some editing with, they're obviously the batteries. There's a to-do list. That is done. That's underneath. That'll get tidied up at some point. This from here onwards looks okay. And then, yeah, I think we're just going to need to clear a clear divide, because the grey is going to be the bits that are under construction. And then I think they're going to change to green. I think that might be the better way of doing it, but I think we go base plate and a half out, base plate and a half out, 2 base plates for the castle. I think I'm going to go black. I think that would look nice, just a complete change. And then put the Death Star against it, I think, because the black does look nice over here, but it is, yeah, because it's got the big stuff on top of it, it's not too bad. The one thing that we couldn't see the black with was obviously the shadow box. That just didn't work. That just didn't work whatsoever. But the M1's going to go up on the wall. The Ghost probably will go up on the wall as well. And then, yeah, we can just start to figure all of that out. So I just got to figure out where I'm going to go next, because we are weeks away from One Piece, so I can't do anything on that. I've got to order all of the plates for Mario Kart, which is going to happen at some point, but at the moment it's very handy having this table space. I'm not really in a rush to start that, because when it started, it's going to take up a lot of time. Kind of tempted to, if I can get the base plates in, I think that's probably the best thing to do. See if I can get a pack of green base plates. Base plate under the Snow White, and then tile this section so that section's done. And then work on that corner. And then when we figured out where everything that is non-Jurassic Park and Marvel DC is going, which is, I think it is actually only those 2 sets, minus a Ninjago tin and that, and just the minifigures that have been dumped there for shorts. It's a quick Marvel tidy, and then we'll start to think about what is actually going to go there. And of course, we've got all the new bits and pieces that are going to be arriving by the time this gets uploaded, and there's 8 different sets, some small, 2 big. So it's going to be very, very exciting with lots of big changes. So we're now going to start focusing on each section in much more greater detail. But I think the last really big change is going to be the Winter Village. So keep your eyes peeled for that, because that's going to get relocated into a much more convenient place. It stops me basically breaking my neck every time I go over to the loft hatch. So if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You'll take care and have a next one.